Hello everybody and welcome to Feature Friday. Today we are going to talk about importing patterns into multiple different displays that we have used over the years. So currently you're looking at a 7-inch and I don't have anything hooked up to a machine, obviously, as you can tell. So I am going to be using a adapter, an on-the-go adapter. It goes from USB, the regular USB to micro USB, and then you just plug in your USB. So I've got that done on this guy here. As you can see, it's plugged in, and then right here it's plugged into the micro USB. If you have a machine with the hub, you are just going to plug it directly into your hub. So this guy is a 7-inch. I believe it's called a Glavy. We've had them in this black, in white, and blue. So this one has two different ways we can import patterns. So I'm going to show you both of those. So first we're going to go over to the circle with 6 dots in it. That'll bring up all your apps that are on there. So here's all the apps, and we're going to go to the file folder. And it's called File Manager. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then what comes up, I'm going to tip this up so you can see a little better, is this little disc kind of sign. And then you have an SD card, the USB sign, pictures, and videos. So since we have our USB plugged in, we're going to go to the USB sign. So click that. And then it comes up with the USB 1 folder. So I'm going to click that, and then it shows you everything that is in your, or on your USB drive. So I am going to use Apple's, it's Apple E2E on this one, and I am just going to press and hold. And when that happens, you get file operations, where you can delete, rename, copy, move, email, or send by Bluetooth. So I'm going to go ahead and hit copy file. So we click that, and then it'll take you back to the screen where your USB is, and it says holding Apple E2E. So that's the one you copied. So I'm going to go back to the internal memory, which is this like disk looking one right here. Click on it, and it brings up file 0. So I'm going to click on that. Then I am just going to put this in the download folder, so I'm going to click there. And then if you go up to this top right corner, there is a piece of paper with the corner folded over. If you press that, you get the options of paste, delete, copy, and move. So I'm going to go ahead and hit paste. And then just like that, the Apple E2E is put in there. So that being said, I am going to go into Perfect Stitch. I've already been into it, so I'm just going to my recent apps. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And make sure that you have a quilt area set so we can get into the patterns. So you go to Patterns, and this is what it'll pop up with. So we're going to go into Import Export, and I'm going to import a file. So I'm going to click that, and I have all these options. I'm going to go ahead and hit SD card because that is considered the internal memory on this menu. So this SD card right here, you can either highlight it and hit open, or you can double click on it. So then it brings me to all the folders that are in there, and I'm going to go ahead and hit download. Oops, I hit movie. If you accidentally do that, you can just hit the back button. So hit download and then open, and there is my file that I copied. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight that and then hit open. And it says that it finished it and it is tagged as imported. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the check mark. And then if I go into patterns and go over to the tags over here, if I go into imported, right there is my apples pattern. So that is one way you can do this. On this particular one, you can also just go into the import export tab. You can go to import file and you can go to USB host 1 and hit open. This is also going to show you everything that is on your USB drive. Since we've already done Apple E2E, I'm going to import the April showers. So I'll just go ahead and highlight that and hit open. And again, it says it is imported. So I go ahead and hit the check mark, go back to patterns. And if I look in imported, right here is my April showers. So that is how to import patterns on your 7-inch Glavy. All right, so this display here is a 10-inch Peepo display. And again, I'm just on all of these going to be using the adapter and USB. The important thing on the Peepo tablets is you want to be plugged into this host port, not the USB. So don't do the USB, do the host port. So that's the important thing on that one, is to make sure you do the host port. So on this one, there is only one way to import patterns. So you're going to go to this circle with the 6 dots in the middle. You're going to click on that. And on this one, you're going to go to get to the files, you're going to go to Explorer, which is this guy right here that has a file and the gears on it. It might make you think about the internet when it says Explorer, but it's not that. So you go ahead and you hit the Explorer, and it's going to bring up 3 options for you: NAND flash, SD card, and USB storage. We're going to go to USB storage, and you can see all the stuff on our USB. And on this one, we are going to press and hold again. And this one will come up with a menu. It says copy, delete, move, rename, send, or create shortcut. We are going to copy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go hit this home button here. Then it's going to bring up our 3 options again. And on this one, the NAND flash is your internal memory. So click on that, and then I am going to just put it in downloads. And I'm going to go to the editor and hit paste. And this one says I already have that on here, which I do. So I don't need to copy it. But it'll show up in here, which is where we want it to, in your download folder. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Perfect Stitch. So if you hit the circle, it'll take you back to the home page. And if you open Perfect Stitch, here we are. We're going to go to the robot, set a quilt area. I'm just going to hit the plus twice because it doesn't matter since I'm just importing patterns. And then I'm going to go up here to the patterns icon and click on it. Now I'm going to go down to the import export right here. Click on that. And I'm going to import file. So there we go. This one asks me for an internal or external location. We saved it internally. So I am going to click on the internal. And then I'm going to highlight download and click open. And there is my pattern. So I'm going to highlight that and hit open. And this says it is already have that one in it, so 0 items were imported because 1 was duplicated. Okay, so that being the case, I'll go ahead and show you another one. We'll go back to Explorer. We'll go home because it left me in the screen I was at. Go to USB storage. And this time I'm going to do the April showers one. So press and hold, copy, up to home again. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Home, then NAND flash, and then downloads. And then I'm going to go to editor and hit paste. And here is my pattern. So again, I'm going to go back into Perfect Stitch. So I am just going to hit the circle to take me to the home page of the display tablet, hit Perfect Stitch, and it's going to bring me back to this, right back to where I left off. So I'm going to go to import file. Again, I'm going to do internal. Then I'm going to go to download and hit open. And here's April showers right there. So click on that. So it's highlighted and hit open. And it says it was imported and it was tagged under imported. So I hit the green check mark, go to patterns, go into our tag section over here and click imported, that one right there. And there is my April showers that I imported, and there's the apples the first one that it said was already in there. So that's how you import on a 10-inch Peepo. Again, make sure you plug into the host port, not the USB, if you have that option. Okay, so this one we have is a 10-inch. It's called a Casper, or it is also known as the Aldo Cube. The white ones like this were named Casper for some reason, and the black ones were just regular Aldo cubes. So one thing to note on this version is when you first plug in your USB drive, if you look right here, I'll zoom in so you can see there is a little, like, oops, I hit the Google. There's a little trident. So let me zoom in just a hair so that you can see that when I plug that in, there's that little trident, right? So what you want to do is you want to pull down from it and it'll say USB drive, all of that thing. Oh. And you click on it and it asks you what you want to do with it, and you want to click portable storage. Okay, so then when you unplug your drive and plug it back in again, after you've done that, it won't ask what needs to be done with it again. So you will still see the little trident up here, but so for this one, we are going to go into, again, the circle with the 6 dots in it. And on this particular version, we are going into files with, it's got a blue folder that's got the corners folded down and they're red, it's like an orange, yellow, and green. So I'm going to click on that. And I am going to scroll down to where it says disk, and if you haven't given it permission, it'll ask you if you want to allow it to do this, and you say allow. Woohoo! Now on here you can see there are birthday wishes and EQS pumpkin patch E2E. So I am just going to press and hold, which highlights this blue, and it has a blue check mark over here. Then at the top you noticed it changes and it says one is selected. So then from there I'm going to go over to the top right, and up here there are 3 dots that are going vertically. I'm going to click that and it gives me the option to open, select all, move to, copy to, rename, file info, or back up to Google Drive. I am going to go to copy to. Then down here at the bottom, it pops up as internal storage or disk. I'm going to do internal storage. And then I am going, and as you can see, we have a blue bar across the bottom that says copy here. We want to keep that there until we get to the folder. And I am, again, just going to put it into downloads. So click on that, and then I'm going to hit copy here. And then it says that one file was copied, and it takes you back to what is on your USB drive. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the top, and I'm going to hit the back button, and then I'm going to go ahead and click internal storage. And so then I'm going to go into download and just make sure that my pattern is in fact there, and there is the birthday one. So then I'm going to hit this circle down here, which will take me to the home screen of the tablet. And I'm going to open Perfect Stitch. And we're going to just set a quilt area so we can get into patterns. So I'm just going to hit the plus button twice. And it'll come up with my 36 by 12 and hit OK. I'm going to go into patterns. Then I'm going to go into import export. And I'm going to go into import file. And so this has brought me into my internal memory. So I'm going to go ahead and hit download and highlight it and hit open. And then I'm going to hit birthday wishes to highlight it. And then I'm going to hit open. And voila, it is imported and under imported. So again, you can just go up into patterns and go imported, and ta-da, there is happy birthday. Okay, so this here we have a 7-inch peepo. So on the back they look kind of like that. Here's the front. There we go. So it's switched. On this one, the plug-in is on the side, as well as the power button and everything is on here. And then the charging is over here. So it's just a slightly different where things are located to hook up, but that's fine. So this 7-inch peepo has two different options. So first, or two options for importing. Sorry, I should finish that statement. So two options for importing. So first we're going to go up to this upper right corner, and it's got those 6 squares, and that is gonna open up all the apps on here. So for this one, we're gonna go into Explorer, and it's got a box with all sorts of stuff in it right here. Oops, I hit the wrong button. That guy right there. So we're gonna open up Explorer, and then you will see that it has 3 options. And we're going to go into our USB, and then it's going to show you everything that's on the USB. So on this one, I am going to press and hold on April showers, and again it's going to bring up your menu, and we're going to go ahead and copy. So you copy, and then on this you're going to go up and hit home, which is the top left. And then on this one, you're going to do internal memory. So click that, and it's going to bring up all your folders. And again, I'm just going to put it in download. So I click on that. And then up here, you have an editor. So you're going to press that, and then you're going to hit paste. And there it is. So then, oops, I'm going to go and hit the home button, and I'm going to open Perfect Stitch. And I already have it set up so that it's in the import export screen. So I'm going to go to import file, and I'm going to go to the SD card and hit open. And here are all my files that are on the SD card. So I'm going to go into download and open, and then April showers and open, and there it is. So the other way that this one works is you can skip the whole save to the internal memory, blah, blah, blah. So you can go to import file, you can go to USB storage and click on it, and it'll bring up what's in your USB drive. So since we've already done April showers, I'm going to do Apple and then hit open, and there it is. So then if we go into patterns and we go into imported on our tags, here is the apple and here's April showers. So that is your 7-inch Peepo display. All right, so this one we have the Buddy tablet. It looks very similar to a Peepo. It's the version before a Peepo, I believe, but here you go. One thing to note on this one is it does have 2 places that you can plug in your micro USB. One says OTG and one says USB. We do not want to use the USB. We want to use the OTG. So, on this guy here, there are 2 different ways to import your patterns. This Buddy has the File Explorer on the shortcuts. Some of them do, some of them don't. If not, up here in the top left are those 6 squares. You click on that, and then you do the Explorer, and it says Explorer with a box full of stuff in it. So if you click on that, your first screen will come up and look like this. I'm going to go into USB, and then you'll see all your files. So just, oops, I hit a button that I didn't want to. So I am just going to hit this back button right here, and it'll take me back one. So I'm going to go down to Apple E2E. Press and hold on that, and again your menu comes up, and I'm going to go ahead and copy. Now I'm going to go to home, I'm going to go to internal memory, I'm going to go to downloads, and then here you have the editor. So we're going to click on the editor and hit paste, and there it is, the Apple E2E. So then I'm going to go ahead and hit the little house here. It's going to take me to the home screen, and I'm going to click on Perfect Stitch. I'm going to go ahead and set a quilt area by just hitting the plus button twice. Then I'm going to go into patterns, and then I'm going to go into import file, and on here I am going to go to the SD card and hit open. I'm going to go to download and hit open, and I'm going to import the Apple E2E, and it's imported. So you hit the check mark. Now you can also just do import file, you can do USB storage and open, and it shows you everything. So we're going to do April showers this time. Highlight it and hit open, and it's imported. So then we go into patterns, we go into our tags over here, and not do that. And you're gonna find the imported, but I keep hitting different buttons because this one is very touchy. So I am just gonna search AP, because they both have AP in them since it was being so touchy. And then here are the Apple, and here are the April showers. So there they are. All right, so here we have a Packard Bell. Things plug in on the side on this one. And again, this is one where you have to tell the display what you want to do with the USB. So there's that little white USB symbol at the top. Let's do that so you can see better. Right there. So you pull down and you would click on this, and it asks if you want to use it as portable storage or internal. We say portable, then next. And this one is formatted wrong, which is why I have multiple USBs. So I'm just going to use the other USB, but you have to do that on all of them. So we'll plug it back in with a different one. And there's that USB. And this one I've already told it to allow it to use. So from that little trident USB sign on the top, I'm just going to pull down and click on the USB. And it's going to show me what's on there. So I am going to do birthday. Press and hold. And it makes the one you selected blue with a check mark, and you've got that blue up top, and it says one selected. So you're going to go over to these three little dots, vertical dots here, click on it, and hit copy to. And this automatically took me to downloads, which is nice, and that's where I want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit copy, and it says copying one item. It said it right here. And it brings me back to my USB drive. So over here in the quick navigation area, you can see downloads. And if I click on that, there is the birthday one, which is what I want. So then I'm going to hit this circle here to take me to the home screen. And I don't see my Perfect Stitch app on the home screen, which is fine. There's a little arrow right here that you can swipe up from, and it brings up all the apps. So I'm going to click on Perfect Stitch. I'm not connected to a machine, so I'm getting errors. Don't worry about those. You should not get those errors. And then I'm going to go into my robot. If it's not already in the robot screen, I'm going to set a quilt area by just hitting the plus button twice. Then I'm going to go into patterns here. And I last left it on that import export screen, so that's where it popped up. I'm going to go to import file. Whoops. It helps to hit the right button. So import file, download, open, birthday wishes, open, and it is imported. So again, that was just import file, downloads, since it was funky at first, just downloads, and then your birthday ones. So then once you have that, you can go into patterns. And under imported is happy birthday. That's how you do the Packard Bell. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the EPCs. We have the 10-inch, which is what I have here. We have the 8-inch guys, which is here. And then we have the 12-inch, which is this guy here. And importing on the EPCs is the same, so I am just going to do it on the 10-inch that I have turned on. The only difference you'll really see with the EPCs is that these 8-inch here have the USB plugins on the sides versus underneath. So on the 10-inch, you have them there on the bottom, and on the 12-inch, you have them there on the bottom as well. So the only difference between them is where they are located. So I am going to use a 10-inch to show you. And these you can just take your USB stick and plug them right in. So I am just going to plug it in. More than likely on yours, since I don't have it hooked into the machine, this one will be filled. So I'm just going to plug it into the next available one. And then when you turn it on, you can see that it's got the little USB symbol up here in the top left, as we've seen before. We're going to go ahead and just pull down from there, and it's going to give you your USB drive. I'm going to just click on that little notification, and there's everything that is on my USB drive. So there's that, just so you know. I am going to go into Perfect Stitch. And again, I'm not hooked up to a machine, so it's giving me these errors, but since you're hooked up to your machine, you should be fine in not getting these. So I am going to go ahead and just set a quilt area. So I hit the plus button twice and hit OK so that I can get into my patterns. I'm going to go to Import Export, and I'm going to Import File. It's going to ask me where I want to go to find my file. So internal would be the internal memory of the display itself, and external is the USB. So since mine's on the USB, I'm going to hit external. As you can see, here's everything on my USB. I'm going to go ahead and click blast off, because I don't think this one has that one on there. So I'm going to click blast off. It highlights it, and I'm going to hit open. And then it says that it is finished. So I'm going to say OK. I'm going to go to patterns, and I'm going to go to imported. And there is blast off. So there is how you import on all those different displays. The other option that you have that is to put, if you're doing multiple patterns at one time, put them all in one folder on your USB and follow the instructions we've gone through for each display. And instead of just doing the import file, you can do import folder, which will import everything within a folder. And again, this one will ask you internal or external, but you would just do the exact same thing we've done today with import file on import folder on any of the displays we've done. So I would go to external. I don't have any in folders right now because I just was adding one to each one. But if you did, once you hit the external and there was a folder, it would just start importing, saying one of however many you have. And then when it was done, it would bring you back and say it was finished. So there is those options. And I believe I've covered the most common displays that we have out there still. So I hope that this was helpful to you and that you have a wonderful weekend.